Tell us what government looks like today.
Is it chaos with our new jobs report last month? Wages going up, unemployment low, renegotiating NAFTA. We're seeing new growth that we've never seen before. I mean, we've probably never been stronger economically in the last 50 years. The challenge is, think about what the Democrats are celebrating. Nancy Pelosi now believes in no border security. What does that mean to human trafficking that they stop going along the way? They celebrate status quo, so it does not solve the DACA problem. Yeah. They are just opposed to anything that Trump wants to offer, even though that's good for America.
Yeah, I mean, they say that they are for border security, but when I ask, your colleagues on the left, but why didn't you vote for Kate's Law? Why didn't you vote for the end of sanctuary cities? Why didn't you vote for a wall? And we know that Nancy Pelosi has a wall in your state, in her state, separating Tijuana from San Diego. So is this all just resist because they hate him, they want him out?
Yeah, because if you look, since we built that wall in California, illegal crossings have dropped more than 95%.
Between Tijuana and San Diego.
And then if you go to Yuma, Arizona, you go to El Paso. El Paso is now one of the safest large cities in America. So there's an ability to do this. But what people don't quite realize, the amount of individuals they catch for human trafficking coming across the border, the amount of drugs, there is a place that we find common ground. And remember what the president offered. Let's solve the DACA issue at the same time. Let's solve the border issue at the same time. And I think that's what America looks for, common ground. But Nancy Pelosi wanted nothing to happen.
Well, you've had conversations. How are the conversations going now? Can you give us a status check in terms of what's gone on so far in this week? You've got another 2 weeks left before another potential government shutdown.
They've only met one time, and they had opening statements, and then Speaker Pelosi came out and said, no money for a wall, even though Democrats and herself have voted for this time before. But now that the president has offered it, they want to oppose it.
What are you going to do? I mean, the president is expected to call for unity tonight. Unity, which, I mean, I think the American people want unity amid these deep divisions between Republicans and Democrats over border security. Is a compromise even feasible? And is this just the beginning of what is to come for the next 2 years? That everything your team goes and puts forth, everything that the president wants is met with resistance?
I hope not. I hope we make a pledge to one another that we put people before politics. We can always have a campaign. We can always have where we disagree philosophically, but let's put America first. And let's sit together and find ways that we can find common ground. Because that's the way our government is actually designed to work. Nobody's going to get 100% of what they want. But unfortunately, the Speaker wants 100% or nothing. But that's really not where all of her members are. More than 60 members on the Democrat side said they would support some form of the wall.
Well, that's a good point, because I want to ask you about that. Is there a movement within the Democrats right now to break with the Speaker?
I think so, but the problem is what Speaker Pelosi does. She has such a grip on her party where now it's immoral from the standpoint to even talk about a wall when they voted for it, when she has people in her own leadership team that supports it.
Yeah. Border Patrol on high alert right now as we speak, because you've got the most recent migrant caravan arriving at the southern border. I mean, the timing is incredible, Congressman. California Speaker Pelosi's home state, she says the wall is immoral, and we know we show this wall all the time between Tijuana and San Diego. And I keep asking the question, if you tear down that wall, will the people in Tijuana assimilate into San Diego?
No, if you
it's pretty obvious, right?
Yeah, these caravans that are coming, Tijuana does not want them either, the mayor, if you talk down there. This is what's really backwards in their thinking. You've got to have some form of barrier in certain areas, and you've got to have a structure to be able to do it. I think everybody in America believes that. The president says that's not the only thing that he wants to do. Yes, he wants to put technology in other areas to be able to protect it, but he also wants to deal with the DACA issue, and the Democrats are saying no.
So do you think that there could be an agreement with a solution for the DACA recipients? I mean,
I can guarantee you this. If Speaker Pelosi could get out of the way, we'd have an agreement in less than 30 minutes. But she wants to make everything political, and that's what's causing the problem. But we've got so much more to do. We've got infrastructure. We've got the negotiations where the president sat down with Mexico and Canada and came in with a better agreement for America.
Is that going to be approved, though? I mean, I speak with a number of Democrat congressmen who say, you know what, I'm not voting for a USMCA. So what happens if you can't ratify that?
America loses in that process because this makes America stronger in a negotiation. Why would they oppose that?
A lot of focus tonight is going to be on the guests at the speech. The White House inviting 11-year-old Joshua Trump, who's been bullied because of his last name. Democrats are getting political. Some of the guests will include furloughed federal workers, critics of Brett Kavanaugh, undocumented people who worked at Trump golf clubs. Tell us about that. I mean, how important are these guests that everybody's bringing to make a point?
Well, I think they invite these guests to try to get some publicity or something else. I think it's important that all of us are together in one place to hear from the president and actually work together to solve these problems. We're going to have differences of opinion, but we can find common ground. And we've got big challenges in front of us. But think about how much we've been able to achieve with getting the tax bill passed. Our economy is stronger than we've ever seen in the last 50 years. We're rebuilding our military to confront the challenges that we see from China and Russia continuing to grow. We've got an energy independence growing in America like we've never had before. So we're stronger when it deals with the Middle East and others. America is in a point to make the next century ours. The challenge would be, is politics going to hold us back from the exceptionalism that America can fully achieve?
The backdrop feels good. You're absolutely right. What about the issue around trade, China, for example? A lot of people want to see a deal done. But do you think that the president should say okay to a deal that China just buys more stuff? We heard yesterday the Chinese are willing to buy more grain and soybean. What about the IP issue? Is there going to be any accountability for all of those decades that China has stolen America's IP, intellectual property, and the forced transfer of technology?
They have stolen so much of America's technology and thought to the process. This is the fundamental president that has finally stood up where someone should have done it before. And we're in a stronger position to do it than ever before. And I think this president is right. And we're finding China for the first time coming to the table. But I do not believe the president will agree to some weak deal. This is the moment that we have to confront them and actually change the course of the direction that we're going.
Now, the steel and aluminum tariffs are still in place. You've heard us on the program. Dagan McDowell has mentioned this a number of times. She thinks it's hurting the economy. Has it hurt the economy?
There's areas that it hurts. There are areas that it supports. If you look at the number of new steel facilities opening up, at the cost of where it's going. But when I look overall, what the president is doing is looking long term. Will we be stronger long term? Will there be more American jobs? And remember, what was the last report came in? More than 300,000.
Yeah,
I thought there was only going to be 100,000, and we are dealing with a shutdown at the same time. I mean, this president has put the American worker first. Wages has gone up, what, 3%, the highest in the process. So we're stronger where we're going. But what China's been doing ever since they got in the WTO, they have not conformed to what the Western world has looked like about the rule of law and others. So this is more than buying more soybeans. This is what the world should look like, and is it fair, and is the rule of law going to win?
Yeah, and I asked the question earlier, if China really wants the world to trust them in terms of using their telecom equipment from Huawei and ZTE, it's going to have to get the world's trust.
They still have a closed society. They still have a communist individual in every business. Government controls the businesses where they go. That's not the world we look to for freedom. Real
quick on your tax plan, because obviously it did stimulate growth last year, and we see that the numbers, we're talking about a 3% grower for the year, we think. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants to raise taxes to 70% on the tippy-tippy top, she said.
Some want to go to 90%. The understanding here
Would that ever pass?
I don't know if they have more congresswomen such as herself. Maybe it would.
But the president would veto it.
Let's hope. Yes, he would.
What were you going to say? I'm sorry.
Well, the challenge, what they see is we're letting people keep more of what they earn to invest more. They want government to have greater control of your life, more of your money, in every aspect of it. That goes to a philosophical debate that's happening in America. Are we moving towards socialism? Or are we looking to more freedom and free markets? I think that's a much bigger debate of the differences of what we're seeing in Congress today and the future of America.
All right, we will leave it there. We're looking forward to tonight, the State of the Union. We'll see if all of this comes up. Good to see you, Congressman.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for joining us.